Coming Up for Breath is inspired by the daily laps that I did with a group of girlfriends right at the beginning of COVID. So we'd just come through the bushfires, we had a little respite, and then COVID hit us at the end of March. And for the months of April, May and June, a group of us kind of made a promise to one another to swim together each day. And it was a way of finding a constancy in the time that was presenting us with so many unknowns. And some of us, including, I had been trapped in Manana during the bushfires, and so I really was looking for a place of respite and a place where I could find my breath, have a daily practice of connecting with my breath and grounding myself. And the Coaldale Sea Pool that I've made work about before was that place, and to do it with a group of women who all had various things going on in their lives was a really profound experience of connection and vulnerability, surrender. It was a really positive experience.
Doing something together, the chatting about what's going on in your life is just natural. It's much easier.
Yeah, it is, although it's quite hard to chat about what's going on in your life
while you're underwater.
Sometimes we do what we call ladies' laps. Should we do a few ladies' laps and we breaststroke with our heads above the water so we can chat? So one day my friend Emma Rutherford, who has been like my art midwife on this project, she's really asked me incredibly pivotal questions all along the way and pushed me to explore materiality and how I'm thinking about the work, how I'm considering making the work. In those very, very early days, I think she joined us in the pool in about May, so we'd been swimming for maybe 6 or 7 weeks at that point. And she came down at 7 a.m, it was really committed. And soon after, she asked me the question, what are you thinking about when you're swimming? And I said, well, I'm looking at the bubbles my arms make and I'm thinking about my swimming film. And she said, oh, what swimming film? And I said, well, the film I'm going to make. And she said, well, what's preventing you from making it? So, well, I'm just thinking about it. And on we went, and so she stepped me through the process. What would you need? Well, a GoPro, I suppose. And Wilkie's got one of those, Wilkie, my son, she said. I did a lot of experimentation. So originally I was quite compelled to capture what I was seeing as I swam. So I started with the camera on my head. But of course, when I took a breath, my head would come out of the water and the whole world shifts. So eventually I ended up with 2 cameras after lots of experimentation and 2 elastic head mounts that I put on like pants.
Right.
And I had a camera facing forward and a camera facing backwards, to which my son said, I never want to run into you at the sea pool. This is one swim, and on the day that I got this footage, it was the second lot of 20 laps that I'd done, and I ended up doing 50 laps.
And what about the install? Like, I've been here installing next to you, but just watching the process, it's quite a thoughtful process.
The work remained really open. So while I knew the dimensions of the gallery space, the actual fabric box can shrink and expand to fit into a space. And I hadn't done any video before. And so my understanding of how things work, even distances, cameras to screens, was fairly rudimentary. I ended up, I asked a filmmaker friend of mine to first of all have a look at my GoPro footage and tell me if I could possibly project that in a gallery space and have enough information in that footage. And he thankfully said yes, the dimensions are fine. He very kindly suggested that the original footage that I had wasn't very good.
You need some honesty, don't you, along the way?
Yeah, it was really helpful. And so he encouraged me to think to go deeper with how I was thinking about getting that footage, which was just the nudge I needed. And so he then said he'd help me set up the files, at which point he became really interested in the project and has done so much more.